Hi, thank you for using My Court Coach. I'm Jaylyn, and I'll be your instructor as we navigate through Form DV-101 Description of Abuse. Now, this form that we're looking at right here on my screen is an optional form. It's an optional judicial counsel form. That means you do not have to use it as an attachment to your request for domestic violence restraining order. You can use this form, or you could also use this form, the MC025, and you can type in DV100 and then just start talking about the most recent abuse and going through the abuse dates and from most recent to the latest. Now, you want to make sure that you write in the name of the person that's asking for protection, name of the person that you want protection from, and then the date of the abuse. And the date of the abuse does not need to be very specific. I mean, nobody has perfect memory as to what happened when. I mean, obviously, if it happened in the last, couple of weeks, then yeah, there might be this expectation that you do remember, but that's not an expectation across the board. But some individuals just aren't able to remember anything past 1 month ago, and they know something happened, let's say in February of 2019, but they can't exactly pinpoint the exact day. That's okay. Just write in February of 2019 if you're able to help yourself refresh your memory. With Valentine's Day, it was sometime in February. Did it happen before Valentine's Day or after Valentine's Day? And then within your date of abuse, you can write, within the first 2 weeks of February of 2019 during the daytime, this is what happened. So you be able to use some sort of holidays that are within a specified month in order for you to try and pinpoint some days, so that the more accurate you are, the more specific you are, the more credible that you will look. And then also, whether it's daytime or nighttime, I mean, that's also really important as well. And if you don't remember, then you don't remember. And, that's okay. You can only work off of what you remember and what your knowledge is. So who was there? So if there were other individuals besides you and the abuser that were there, you absolutely want to include them. So if your kids were in the house, you want to go ahead and include them. Anybody that was in the house at the time that this abuse was taking place, and if the abuse took place in the house, you want to go ahead and list them. So even if your neighbor had knocked on the door during the abuse or something, go ahead and list them. It's very important to just list anybody that was present at the time of the incident that occurred. Now, what is abuse, right? Because the next question is describe how the person abused you and your children. And if you forgot, you can go directly to your request for domestic violence restraining order form and section 27, and it tells you exactly what abuse means. It's important for you to use this terminology to include it in your description. So, for example, keeping under surveillance, right? So you can say that on February 3rd of 2019 at around 2:30 p.m., the respondent or the restrained party kept me under surveillance by being across the street in his car watching me get out of the house. And I know that he's been sitting there for the last hour, just being there with like a hat, and I know it's him because of his car license plate, or he had like a scar on his mouth, and I remember seeing it from this distance, something along those lines. But the most important things is that I'm using the word keeping me under surveillance. Like, that's what he's doing. He's watching me. He's stalking me as well. So, or if he did, threaten me, then I'd say, okay, he threatened me by stating that if I walk out that door, then he's going to make my life a living hell. And so I'm using the word threaten, right? Or if he's attacking me, well, he's attacked me by taking his hand and wrapping it around my neck and that left marks on my neck. Like, I'm using the word attacking. So that's the point, is you're using the words that is within the abuse and describing how it happened. The more detailed you are, the better it is. So, or the better it is for you, for your case, for you to describe. And if anything happened to your children or anybody that you saw in your household get abused, this is also the section where you would want to write about it. And then describe any use of weapons or guns. If you used a knife, charged at you with a knife, then you want to write the knife, the kitchen knife, or the kitchen knife that has a blue handle on it, or something that's unique about it. So the more descriptive you are, the better it is for you and using this form. Describing any injuries. So if there were marks on your neck, you hopefully have photos of that, because that helps with the description of the abuse, and you can go ahead and attach those photos to this document or any document that describes the abuse. And then also, you could tell the court, well, there was red marks on my neck, and therefore, and it caused me pain. So you'd write like red marks and painful, and a painful neck. Or you can say like emotional distress even, or mental distress. I mean, whatever it is that you need to write to describe your injuries, no matter how small they are, they definitely should be listed on there. I think a lot of individuals forget to write emotional distress, and going through a domestic violence issue is definitely a traumatic experience. So you have to also list whether the law enforcement actually came, and if they did come, did they issue an emergency protective order? If they did, then great, you need to attach it. If they didn't issue an emergency protective order, then say no. If you're not sure, then you could also check the box you don't know. And then describe abuse to you and your children. So any other times that you've been abused. So if something happened, February 3rd of 2019, and something else happened on February 1st of 2019, then we want to write February 1st of 2019 at whatever time, who was there. I'm going to list every single person that I know was there. And then again, how did this person, abuse me and the children at that time? So it only relates to that one time. You want to make sure that you're specific and to the point, and you're not going off on tangents describing something that happened not on that day and it happened beforehand. So you can save that for additional information that you can attach here. So you can include it here, or you can include it here. It doesn't matter which form to use. One's not better than the other. So just make sure that you just get the content of the abuse on here so that the court can read it, because the court is going to use that information and decide whether they should issue a temporary restraining order. And if you got denied a temporary restraining order, then you are probably not descriptive enough, and you just didn't meet the level of a restraining order. And so you still have a second chance to get a restraining order, because you will be issued a hearing in 3 weeks. You can amend this. You could literally use the same exact form and then just write, amended in the case number area, and then type in your case number. And same goes with this attachment form. If you wanted to amend it, you can write it even here, amended, and then, your case number or your case names, or you can write the word amended here. Or if you didn't want to use the word amended, because amended means that you're changing things in your description of abuse filings initially, so you can also write supplemental. So if it was a supplemental declaration, then great, you can go ahead and write those words as well. And what that means is that you want the court to consider also not only this form, but the next form that you fill out that will be titled supplemental. It's in addition to, it's supposed to supplement the description of abuse that you've already handled. But if it's not going to necessarily add to the description of the abuse, like you're not providing additional details and you're just revising what you're going to say, then you would do an amended declaration or amended description of abuse, and you would just clarify further like what happened on this particular day. So that's the difference between amended description of abuse versus supplemental. But it's better to use supplemental versus amended, because amended says that you essentially change some information, and supplemental means that you are adding to that information. So that's going to be very helpful for you at your restraining order hearing. And please don't forget to also include that terminology on your attachment, whether it's this one or the third page here. All right, well, we hope that you found this helpful, and good luck.